It's really exciting to get together with all of you today. I'm filling in for Will today on Mastermind Monday. And he asked that I could introduce some of the things I've learned and some of the things that I teach at RGX as an RGX mentor. Most of the time I work with communications, everything around communications, but a lot of times we talk about branding, trying to get our brand straight, trying to make sure it represents us well. So for those of you in RGX, I've worked with some of you on this already. For others, hopefully I will in the future. And for those who aren't currently in RGX, possibly get back to me when this is over if you have any questions, and we can work through it. So as usual, we're interested in trying to develop a better work-life balance for all of us. So we're trying to get better results for our students, and we're trying to help our clubs and our membership along the way. So in order to do that, by way of background, I've been in a coaching position for almost 50 years now. And during those 50 years, I've done all kinds of coaching from an international point of view, across culture, across languages. And it's amazing how often branding comes up in how do I get my business to work better? How do I make it more relevant to the students I have? In this case, we're going to be talking about how to make our coaching more relevant. When I first started with RGX, I'd already established my brand. I had done that in a previous life or previous existences. And so it was a natural for me to move over to RGX, get my logo together, get my branding together, and be ready to go. But I found that as we worked through communications, so many of our colleagues really didn't have a good idea of what branding was, what it was supposed to do, what its job was, how to come up with a brand and branding messages. So I thought what I would do today is not necessarily lecture about branding, because they've written libraries about it. What I'd like to do is just simply share what I've learned from other folks, not only what works, but also what doesn't work. So we'll start out with 5 keys to branding. So let me ask you a question. Just give me thumbs up along the way. If somebody asked you, what is a brand? Would you say it's my logo? How many people would say your brand is my logo? Kevin's got thumbs down. Okay, Kevin, you and I are going to be buddies, that's for sure. How about layouts on my website? I hear that all the time. It's how I lay out my website. That's my brand. My presence on social media, what the pictures that I share, what I say about what I've been doing, and that kind of thing. Emails or messages I send out to prospects, ideas that I got online. So we hear all kinds of ideas about what a brand is, but realistically, a brand is more than visuals, and it's more than colors, and it's more than logos. It's everything that's heard, seen, or repeated about your business. Everything. Now, that puts a lot of pressure on, because it means that we always need to be on our game. We always need to have our core beliefs, what our why is, what we're trying to accomplish, so that as we share information about ourselves and our programs, it is consistent and understandable. It's about how you're perceived by prospects as well as existing clients, because your program morphs through various existences as you go through. Hopefully you'll be more successful every single day, and therefore your brand will change every single day, even if it's in nuanced ways. But your prospects are going to need to know about you, but so are your existing clients as you make changes and modifications along the way. So these messages include what you say and how you say it, what you write, how you describe your programs, what you text or what you email, how you compose, shoot, and edit videos, what you put on your website. And remember, the more memorable the brand messaging, the more likely your audience is to tell somebody of a like mind. And so in your brand, I want to plant the seed very, very quickly that to the extent that you can make your branding message and your brand as a whole memorable and relevant, the more likely it is people will share your story for you, and the more likely you'll have a much lower marketing budget. So let's start out with what most people say their brand is, and that is your logo. Your logo is not your brand. The graphics and words used to build your logo are simply reflections of your brand. So for fundamentally good logos, we can say that they're simple, they're clear, and they're memorable. They work well in black and white and in color. They can be used horizontally and vertically. Well, why do we go through this? Why don't we just have a logo? Well, it needs to not be complicated and sophisticated and over the top with all kinds of cute features, because that distracts away from your core message. You don't always use your logo in color. A lot of times you use it in black and white for things that don't require color or the expense that goes along with color. And a lot of times you need your logo and your graphics to be used both horizontally and vertically. So think to yourself the different ways your brand might be expressed. Business cards, letterheads, stationery, ads in the newspaper, flyers, signs. Right? All of those things include that same branding. What makes poor logos? What have we seen that really define poor logos? Well, they're really complicated, they're elaborate, and sometimes the graphics can be really tiny. Well, why is that important? Well, because what happens if you have a logo that works really well on a 4x8 sign, but you want to put it on a business card? When you shrink it all the way down, all those cute little graphics you had now can't be read at all. They look like mud. So it's very, very important that you design your graphics so that they can be sized up and down, be used horizontally and vertically. I used to be a sign maker, and one of the things that I fought with our clients about most of the time was they wanted to use really cute phrases or graphics, things that they thought would grab people's attention. Well, it's just not necessary. And most of the time, if you're not clear and distinguishing yourself from other people, it just leads to confusion. So so what we want to do is not only be clear and understandable, but also not too generic or expected. You could do cross golf clubs. You could do a golf ball. You could put golf ball and clubs together. You could put golf club tees, right? The question is, does that distinguish you from other people? Because one of the things we want to do is to have somebody say, oh yeah, that's Jay, or that's Bo, or that's Chad. So here are a couple of logos to look at and to discuss very quickly. At the top left here, you can see this is my little logo where I use the golf ball with a rendition of grass and a tee. You can see it's in color and it's in black and white. It can be used horizontally in black and white. It can be used in color, and it can be used in case I need it to be vertical. We go over to the other side here. Here's Players Club. There's a vertical. Here are the logos used with and without a mountain. And here it is horizontal in color. And notice how I can take the images, move them around for use in other ways other than just the website or my golf bag or something. So right over here where you see the yellow images on a black background, that's the layout I do because I get all of my players' scorecard holders with their names. And that's another way your logo and your branding can be extended as you reach out to folks in different ways. So here are a couple of fun ones that aren't so good. This is what Kraft Foods used to be, and here's what it is now. You can see how complicated this is. All kinds of funny colors and everything like that, but it really doesn't say much about Kraft Foods. Here is Salute Military Golf Association of New England. This is a mistake that a lot of people make. They use images. This is the same thing as a photograph. So you can't take the individual pieces of this and move it around because it's a single image. What you need are vector files. If you need any help with that, let me know. So if you take a look right here, you can see how the lion or the lion has been moved and used in different places. If this was a single image, I couldn't move it that way. I couldn't move the type or the fonts around. I couldn't use it in different ways. You'll find that, particularly on your website, it's very important that you can do that. Now, let's go over and have a little fun here. Let's see, Kevin, how do you like this one right here? That a pretty good logo? You want to try to interpret that for me?
Hey, Jay, my feed's a little slow, so my feed hasn't caught up to you yet, so I can't see that.
All right. Well, I know Bo will enjoy this, and hopefully other people who have good feeds will enjoy it, because whoever did this logo either had a very warped sense of humor or assumed other people didn't, one of the two. Now, this logo might have been representative of the person who designed it, but I doubt it would be representative to anyone else. Right down here is the logo for the London Olympics. Does that scream Olympics to you? Now, particularly if you saw it in very, very small publishing. Very, very difficult to understand what's going on. Here's an example of what I was talking about with when the logo shrinks down in size, right? So here's comprehensive healthcare, welcome home. Now, if you look really carefully, can you see how the hands down here look like they're giving the house a hug? And you have nice little flowers and things like, well, that's all really cute. I'm sure somebody was very emotional about that. But now you see what happens when it's shrunk down. If that was on a business card, you probably couldn't read it at all. All right, so you see how that's different than that. Big and bold, easy to read. And then let's break this down just a little bit to see what logos might include. My name, it says golf. It has a golf ball, it's got a tee. It has something that is uplifting and moving from bottom to top. It talks about discovery. It talks about your game. It talks about learning, and it talks about learning on the course. So, Bo, you got a comment about how that could work in terms of spreading the message?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is huge, Jay, and you're making me just stab myself now, because now I got to go redesign everything and reword everything, So I think, having the message clear like that in the logo is so important. And you see a ton of logos like you just showed, it's like, you don't always see that. And then also, if you do see it, when it does get resized, you can't read it anymore. So I think this is great. Yeah.
Right.
Stuff.
All right. Well, here's the good news, guys and gals. The fact of the matter is that I have been doing logo design, graphic design, copy editing and stuff like that for years and years, decades, right? The good news is it doesn't really matter that much if you're so good at what you do, right? So if you're really good at what you do, you can afford to have a logo that's not so great. It'll just slow up your development a little bit and slow up your progress, but it won't wreck you. So you don't want to look at the logo as like, okay, I got to blow it up now and completely redo it or I'm done. It's not true. Don't get that crazy about it. But as soon as you can, try to work on your logo a little bit and see if you can have one that doesn't look like this. All right. That's one of my favorite logos of all time. That's just wrong on so many levels. Let me see here. Got my slides a little out of order here. I apologize, guys. What I want to do is talk to you about the next key, which is first impression. All right. Your logo can be part of your first impression. And it is important, particularly when people go to websites, they assume that you're a professional. You know what you're doing, and on and on and on. And they therefore carry that to your website and your graphics. And so the first impression helps solidify your street cred. So immediately, if you come across a website and it's beautifully put together, the graphics are clean and crisp, they're easy to understand, they're not very complicated, and on, immediately your street cred goes up. Now, you and I, we know that one of the things that kills our students on the course is they'll have a problem. They'll say, well, yeah, but I was playing on the 9th tee. Fred told me to keep my head down. Or Susie said, oh, you're doing this or you're doing that. And now I tried that and I'm all screwed up. Okay. And so it's interesting that the people who play the worst are the first ones to come up with advice and mess up our students, right? Well, the same thing can go for logos. I know lots and lots of people who have told me, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about the expense involved in a logo because my sister went to art school and she's really good. Or a friend of mine does a lot of graphic stuff. If you hear that, run away quickly. Just don't go there. They might do it for free, but you'll be the one who pays. Don't go there. Get professional help to get your logo ready to go and ready to publish. Now, these days with the internet, you can delegate out all of this stuff at not a very high price. Or if you're an RGX, you can reach out to somebody who might know a little bit about that and ask for a little bit of help. But either way, make sure that what represents you when you're not there. Remember, that's the important thing. If you're not there, this has to speak for you. Make sure it speaks for you the way and message it the way you would say it if you were there. That takes some work and effort. It's very, very worth it. All right, so when you're doing your messaging, right, that's the silent salesperson, right? You won't be there, don't rely on others. Your oral messaging, which is also branding, should be defined by the referral, not by the person that you're speaking to or the audience you're speaking to. It's primarily intended for your listener to repeat to others of a like mind. And make sure that includes your core beliefs to the extent that you can. Now, what I encourage people to do when they're getting copy ready along with their logo is to dump the copy quickly onto a piece of paper. Write it out fast. Do it on a napkin. Who cares? Because it isn't the original notes that you make or the original writing that you do. It is the editing that counts. And so you should look at, for every minute that you spend writing, you should spend 5 minutes editing, minimum. And it's just so critical. So brain dump quickly, but edit thoroughly. Branding that's confusing, not professional, poorly edited, will come back to haunt you. So first design and then practice on your oral, determine what could be better, learn from your presentation, include the tweaks, then rehearse with somebody, then do it again, then do it again. So what I usually tell other coaches is, you encourage your students to practice, right? If they're going to learn how to hit a baby draw, they're not going to do it on the first swing or just because you told them how to do it. Okay. Now, your mission statement is another key to your branding. The mission statement is your purpose. It includes your promise to your prospect and why your organization exists. Like your logo, it should be easily understood so that it can be repeated by clients as well as staff members. So when I first went to Country Club of Vermont, where I am currently director of instruction, I made absolutely sure I took my mission statement to every employee in the club, the pro shop, the bag room, the maintenance guys, the waiters and the waitresses in the food and beverage, the cooks, everybody. And I explained my mission, why I was there, what I was trying to do, what promise I was making to prospective students. I also have my mission statement on my wall in my home office. I have it on my icebox. I have it in my office at the club. I try to read it every single day. You'd be amazed at how much it keeps you focused. Okay. In preparation for this, you need to know your core beliefs. You need to know your why. If you need some help, again, let us know how we can help. I'm going to take you back up here. Again, my apologies for my sloppy slide manipulation. Okay, so here's a couple of mission statement samples for you. On the top is the one that I've used for years. I manipulate the words a little bit here and there, but my mission statements for my students. My mission is to do work that matters for people I care about. My mission is to do work that matters for people I care about. I don't do 1-hour lessons on the range and then not see the student again. That work doesn't matter. It doesn't help them get better. It doesn't bring me results. I don't do it. And I work for people I care about. Why wouldn't I? I clearly identify the people who want to join me on my journey to revolutionize golf instruction. If they're not interested, if all they want is a servant to go out and work with them for half an hour every 3 months, I'm not interested. So you see where my mission statement comes from. Now, for fellow coaches and colleagues, where we'll be working together and sharing nuggets of information, trying to get better every single day on behalf of our students and our clubs, my mission is to resist conformity, share what I learn, and leave the golf world better than I found it. Okay, so when you take a look at these statements, the words are very, very carefully chosen so that people know me or understand me or at least start a relationship. So let's see here, Chad. My mission is to resist conformity. What would you say about that? Why would I say that?
Just letting your followers know that you like working with everybody.
Or how about that I don't necessarily agree with the current paradigm in golf coaching and instruction? Mm-hmm. How about if I have ideas of my own? For example, I like group coaching on the course rather than individual coaching on the range. Well, the individual coaching on the range is the norm, isn't it? That's not why I'm here. I don't really care. I want to share what I learned, right? So generosity is a big part of what I try to do, right? Being generous with other people is a great way not only to build relationships, but to have them talk about the kinds of personal freedoms and the personal beliefs that you have. And I want to leave the golf world better than I found it. All right. Now, I could say that in 250 words across 3 pages typed, but leave the golf world better than I found it is up to you to interpret what that means, and that is not by mistake. Okay, so it's straightforward, it's easy, fairly easy to remember. It has some emotion to it, it has some commitment to it, and it's also localized to the people who are around me. So here's McDonald's brand mission. All right, you ready for this? McDonald's brand mission is to be our customers' favorite place and way to eat and drink. Our worldwide operations are aligned around a global strategy called the Plan to Win, which center on an exceptional customer experience, people, products, place, price, and promotion. Is that pretty easy to remember and repeat to somebody else? Does that sound like corporate speak to you? And what does it say about somebody within McDonald's ability to do sentence structure and spelling? not so good. All right. So this is what I wanted you to witness, is the difference between the two. Is it saying that mine is perfect and you should copy it? Absolutely not. That's just my opinion. But you can see the difference between something that has impact, it's clear, it's precise, it's understandable, it's repeatable, and just corporate speak. Remember, you need simplicity, 1 or 2 key goals that define success. And challenge yourself. If you can't get that into a sentence or 2, go back and try it again. All right. So we are just about out of time for today. This is a big topic. I know we're going through it pretty quickly. It's obviously something that I love and feel very passionate about, and I believe that the better you get at managing your brand and all the little nuances will make a huge difference in how well you build your relationships, how clearly people understand you, and how much they want to follow you. So without further ado, let me see if I can go down to the bottom here, which I can't do very comfortably. So for those of you who are in RGX, I can't wait to see you again, work on with you on some of our boot camps and accelerators. Those of you who are not currently in RGX would like to talk more about it, get some information about how we work with these kinds of topics, how we can work with you. You can scan what's on the screen, or you can reach out to me personally, jay@rgxcoach.com. Be happy to get back to you. Can't promise I do it right away, but pretty quickly. Hope you all have a really good day. Hope to see you again on another Mastermind Monday.